Your mother sold you to the drug dealer. You were sexually assaulted at 5 years old.
I was raped. People need to hear the word rape. I lost
Yeah.
my innocence.
You were left in the home. For days, you and your siblings had no food. You ran out, grabbed 2 handfuls of grass, and took it back into the house so y'all would eat grass.
Yeah, I have probably one of the worst hands dealt in life, but God gave me the winning hand.
Took your $5,000 tax return, and you have since flipped that into a multi-million-dollar business.
I started with my tax return because that's all I had.
Yeah.
Most people won't start because they keep thinking they need more. I didn't have the privilege of thinking I needed more. I went to my banker with a 550 credit score.
Shut up.
If I have both eyes open, I still got fight in me.
But how did you get to be the female real estate guru? Welcome to Vault Empowers Talks, where we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. I'm excited that you are joining me today. But before I introduce my guest, I need you to go ahead and do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss your daily dose of inspiration and motivation. But without further ado, I've had the interview before the interview. I'm so excited for this conversation because I can't wait to put this iPad down. I get to introduce this amazing woman sitting next to me. Terrica Lynn Smith is the founder of Terrica Lynn Smith Enterprises, a company that specializes in developing communities, investing in apartment complexes, single-family residence, and mid-rise investments. Terrica Lynn Smith has developed more than $50 million in real estate developments and projects over the past 20 years. Terrica has been involved in planning, conceptualizing, and executing all of the projects. Leading the Opportunity Zone Initiative, Terrica created a $21 million mixed-use community that allowed her to work and be recognized at the White House under President Donald Trump. Terrica is the youngest female developer of a mixed-use community in the state of Louisiana, with a portfolio boasting over $60 million in real estate and over 790 properties. Her mark on the real estate landscape is notable and constantly growing. As an investment coach and mentor, Terrica has coached over 300 first-time investors and assisted with millions in investments. Terrica is the founder of Riot Foundation, where she is dedicated to the transformation, protection, and development of youth. Terrica believes nothing is impossible. Vault Empowers Talks welcome investor, mentor, coach, philanthropist, mother, and an overcomer, the female real estate guru, Terrica Lynn Smith, to the show.
Wow. Wow.
That's you.
Wow.
That is you, girl.
I don't think I ever heard my life read like that.
Listen, I want you to come over here. I tell people all the time, when you come over here, I want you to know that I know who you are. Yes. And I'm so excited for this conversation because there are some people who may not recognize your face. But after this interview today, baby, they gonna know your name. Okay? So Terrica, I'm so excited that you're joining me. Real estate mogul, guru. You didn't start off here, but how did you get to be the female real estate guru?
You know what's funny is I never named myself that. People would just call me that. They would call me Moses of real estate. They would call me
You lead them out the promised land.
They call me Harriet of real estate.
Wow.
And then they just would call me, female real estate guru.
Wow.
And so honestly, when I was starting my Instagram page, like I just put that and it just kind of stuck. I take, great pride in honoring that for people though. Like, most gurus have a bad reputation. I do my best to try to uphold, to teach, and to be able to provide what I believe is actual items people can do to get ownership in real estate investment.
Yeah.
And I think the people appreciate that. At the time when my bio was written, we have coached over thousands of students now.
Yeah.
And, just having that behind you and seeing those people move has been life-changing.
Yeah. And this is not one of those courses or that people pay for that, because we hear a lot of stuff out here on the internet. Mm-hmm. This is Atlanta's home of the scammer.
Yeah.
Okay. I got bras in Atlanta, credit cards and the scammers. And you have been very, very vocal about the fact that you got real receipts.
Yes.
And that people can Google you. This is not some fraudulent behavior. You are really doing this in real life in real time.
That's right. And so whenever I do coach and mentor, I let them know, like, you're paying for the actual education and the blind spot protection that someone with experience can give you.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to take your money. I'm
Yeah.
like, keep your money. You know, I'm quicker to give someone back their money and have them stay in that lane than come this way, because I'm looking for people that's looking to end a cycle.
Yeah.
That's looking to build and buy real estate and change the trajectory of their family. If those are not the kind of people, that's not my tribe. So I kind of stick in my own tribe, if you
Yeah.
will.
Because you didn't give them folks their money back.
I send it quick.
I listened to you in one of your interviews, and somebody who wanted to invest in a property with you in a business deal.
Too needy.
And, yeah, and they ended up saying, "Oh, well, how long will it be before I get my money?" And you were
Yes.
like, "Send her money right now."
Send it 3 ways. Fast, and fast. Get her out of here. Because I understand, you know, that the transfer of wealth is from the impatient to the patient.
Ooh. Wait a minute. Go no. You're not gonna breeze over that. Go ahead and rewind that back.
Yeah. So the transfer of wealth is from the impatient to the patient. That was a quote by someone famous, Warren, maybe, I don't remember who, maybe Carnegie. But when I read that, I realized that the things successful people have in common is that they're patient. They know how to be tenacious. They know how to go out there and get it. They're not lazy, but they understand investments and they understand the patience that come behind investing. So if I'm in the middle of stabilizing a property, which means I am getting the cost together, that means that I am placing residents inside the unit. That means I am monitoring maintenance costs. I'm doing all of these things, and you're asking in the middle of stabilization, when can you get a return on a multifamily investment? You're not my type of partner.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So what happens is she bypassed me. She went to my partner, who's very soft and gentle-hearted, right? I have very, you know, I'm like, look, are you willing to lose it all if you invest with me?
Yeah.
That's the kind of investor I am. I understand real estate. I understand at any day I can possibly lose everything. Are you willing? That person wasn't willing, so she had to be gone 3 ways.
And you said that you were very clear and upfront with anybody who wants to do business with you.
Yes.
That you are very clear on the terms. It is going to take 18 months or more. This is how much money. There is a chance that you might lose your investment. If you are scared, I want you to walk away right now.
That's right. Run.
Yeah.
Like run.
Yeah.
You know, because what happens is I have favor. They have fear.
Wait a minute. Whew, I got favor. They got fear.
Yeah, and fear and favor don't get along. They're enemies.
Oof.
So when you put us together, we're now natural enemies.
Wow.
Because my favor intimidates them.
Wow.
My favor is overwhelming to them. My favor, it disrupts their spirit. And because they have fear, they think, oh my goodness, this person is going to do this to me, and this person is going to take this from me, and this person is going to, they're constantly fighting me. So why would I enter into a relationship with fear?
Yeah.
I can just go find other people that has favor like me.
Yeah. Oh, honey, that right there, I think that's the end of the interview right there. She done already dropped the mic. Listen, because you talk about how you really had to break out of bondage in your own life because of this scarcity mentality, because of this idea of, you know, really most of us are really stuck in that fear because we're scared to dream, right?
Yes.
We don't have the power to dream. We don't have the luxury of dreaming.
Yes.
And so you talk a lot about that.
I do.
About that mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whenever you're surviving, you're not dreaming. You're in survival mode. Think back in a time in your life when you was in survival mode that you were truly dreaming.
Yeah.
It is so hard to focus on a dream when you're in survival mode. And one of the things I had to realize in my life was that as long as I'm constantly in survival mode, that means I'm taking everything that comes my way. Any job, it may not even align with what I really want to do, what I'm even passionate about.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it anyway because I'm in survival mode. So when you're in survival mode, you're going to do anything possible, and you can't be trusted with your decisions. Your decisions are now dangerous because you're going to do whatever it takes to survive.
Yeah.
So I'm very guarded with that because I know what it was like to have that survivor mindset myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like during Hurricane Katrina, right? When we was trapped in the city, everybody had survival mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, people were robbing each other. They were breaking into homes. They were breaking into companies. They was looking for food. They were looking for water. Nobody was dreaming at that time. It was complete chaos in the city. And so when you are around a bunch of people that's trying to survive, it's almost like crabs in a barrel. pulling each other down, because any chance you get, you can step on someone, you would. And so I had to get out of that survival mindset to be able to, to not, like, I never thought, I was going to help thousands of people around the world, Brandi. Like, that was never a thought in my mind. I just wanted a green bank account.
Yeah, yeah.
It was simple for me.
And you took your tax return.
I did.
You took your tax return. You said, I'm going to take this $5,000 that I got every year with my tax return. I'm paying bills. I'm doing all these other things.
Yes.
But that 1 year, and what year was this?
Oh my God, 2012 maybe?
2012, you took your $5,000 tax return, and you have since flipped that into a multi-million dollar business.
Let me tell you something. So there's patterns in your life.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't realize I had this anointing that I can recognize a pattern in myself. Most people can't recognize those patterns in themselves, and I can recognize it in others, right? If you do something 3 times, it's a pattern.
Yeah.
And so every year I would get a tax return. I would go to the payday loan companies. I would go try to catch up and pay them off.
Wow.
Okay? Then I would go and try to, get a car. Guess what kind of car you getting with $5,000?
Yeah.
One that you're going to need again come tax season.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was always in like catch up. So by the time I finished catching up, in less than 2 weeks, I wonder what the statistics are for those who get tax returns. How long do they have it? Because everybody who gets that tax return is thinking, I got to go pay these people off. I got to go get out of this situation.
Yeah.
And then what happens? It come right back to you.
Yeah.
It's because it's a cycle that takes place. And so I was like, I just have to take this money and go find a property. The funny thing is, I didn't know that I couldn't buy a property for $5,000. I was a real estate agent. I had no clue. I just knew I had $5,000.
So you had your real estate license at this
Yes,
point?
I had my real estate license.
Okay.
I got licensed back in 2006, early 2006.
So right after Hurricane Katrina.
Right after Hurricane Katrina. I wasted no time.
Yeah.
Locking me in the city of New Orleans for 3 days. If you ever want to get rid of poverty or a mindset of poverty, lock me in that city, okay?
Yeah.
Food stamps didn't work. Credit cards didn't work.
Yeah.
Nothing worked
Yeah.
during Katrina. So imagine not having any resources and you see people pulling out guns on each other. Like, it's literally, to me, I thought it was the end of days. I thought the rapture came.
Yeah.
And I was going to hell.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I thought. I thought everybody else in the world was going through Hurricane Katrina with me.
Wow.
I didn't know y'all was in Atlanta chilling.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I was driving across the country, moving to Los Angeles during the middle of Hurricane Katrina.
I had no clue people were living life, you know?
Yeah.
So it takes me back to that point, though, of, I started with my tax return because that's all I had.
Yeah.
Most people won't start because they keep thinking they need more. I didn't have the privilege of thinking I needed more. I only had the privilege of using what I had.
Yeah.
It has to work or it has to work. So I have $5,000. Now, guess what I'm looking for? Something for $5,000.
Yeah.
So when people tell me, oh, she talking that trash, there's no properties out there for $5,000. How do you know? When did you look?
Yeah.
Did you go search? Did you get out your backyard? Like, did you do those things? Because if you can't say, yes, I done those things, you can't tell me what you can't do. So my $5,000 took me from having 10 payday loans to 6 figures passively a month because I was a good steward of what God gave me. He gave me a little.
Hold on, because the mic about to get too hot, Terrica. Hold on. Listen, the mic about to get too hot over there. Listen. You talk about steward. Mm-hmm. If I'm faithful over just a few things.
Just a few. Just give me
a few.
Just give me a little.
And that's all you said was, I'm going to just be faithful over this. So you took it and got one property. Mm-hmm. And that property turned into.
I still have it.
That's the key. I've been staring at this key the whole time. Yes. I was like, now what door does this open?
One of the people who I helped acquire a real estate portfolio, he bought this for me for my birthday a year ago.
Wow.
And he put Huckleberry on it because I always call my very first property for $5,000 a Huckleberry. And so this is still the key that opens that door to that same Huckleberry that still pays me $550 every single month, like clockwork, when I have a tenant there. So it's literally the gift that continues giving.
Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this today, Terrica. I'm gonna take off running. I'm gonna take off running in this episode. I promise they're gonna say Brandi done got the spirit. Listen, so you take this and it starts you on this journey. So you obviously, because you're a good steward, and then you say, well, wait a minute, I saw what I did here. Now let me see what I can do again. And
Yes.
so you start multiplying.
Yes. So I didn't understand the principle of leverage. This is the beautiful thing about being, kingdom filled, right? God will order your steps. You don't have to know A, B, C, and D. Most people won't move to B because they don't know what comes after
Yeah.
to get to C.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever I literally bought that property, I went to my banker with a 550 credit score.
Shut up.
550. And I told him, I said, hey, I have brought you a lot of investors over the years, and I would like to refinance this property, pledge it as collateral so I can try to go and buy more real estate. He said, Terrica, you should have been came to me. He sat there and approved me on the spot. On the spot. He had the power to approve me in his pen. If I would have never taken that step to go to him and say, look, I know on paper I don't look credit worthy, but I promise you I'll pay back this loan. I will go homeless to pay back this loan to you. All I had to do was open up my mouth and ask. Most people don't have because they don't know how to ask. They prideful.
Yeah.
I went and sat in front of that white man with a 550 credit score, not knowing how to fill out a PFS, a personal financial statement. He took me by the hand and say, let me show you how to fill this out. Because when you become a millionaire, you're going to need to know how to do this.
Wow.
Now I look at that every 30 days.
Listen, when I start getting chills in the first 15, okay? We just in the first 15. I done got chills 2 times already, Terrica, okay? I love this because I think that so often we miss the mark. Yes. So often we are so afraid to make that next leap, that next step, because we're what they might say, how they might deny us. And God is like, well, I've seen your stewardship.
Do you not know I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Listen, abundance,
There's
exceedingly.
nothing I cannot do.
Yeah. There's nothing I cannot do. I mean, talk about nothing you cannot do. I told you before we started, like, you won my heart when I was doing the research on you. And nothing is impossible is what you live by. Because you did not wake up and say, I'm a real estate mogul, I'm a guru. You have had so many things that you've had to overcome in your life. I mean, your childhood was extremely tumultuous. I mean, you talk about trauma. We talk about things in therapy now. We talk about things on the internet and Instagram and how we got to forgive our parents. But your childhood was ugly.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So, when I share my story, I need for people to know I only gotten through that story in 2018.
2018, yeah.
Like, I haven't been through this story. Most of my life, I lived in identity crisis, not knowing who Terrica was. Even though I was helping investors, and even though I was selling real estate, and even though I was already a wife, I still lived in identity crisis. I had no clue who I was. And what I found out was that I didn't love myself. Like, I didn't love Terrica. I was embarrassed of who she was. And so I went to take a sabbatical. I needed a sabbatical because I was depressed. I started taking medicine because I'm at the height of my career and I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And what I realized was that I was fearful of others judging me because of what I went through. Because all of the ugly that I've been through in my life, most people can't relate.
No.
And so I'm I'm reminded of a time when I was a little girl, and my mother had left us in the house for days at a time. Now, at this point, we never knew when she would come back.
Yeah.
Like, we never knew. Like, it could be 1 day, it can be 2 days, it could be 3 days. Well, at this point, when she left us, there was no water, there was no power, there was no food.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't know, and what I don't share much on platforms, is before she sold me to her drug dealer, she beat me with an extension cord and almost beat the life out of me.
Yeah.
So I was already bruised and hurt and barely even able to walk, and so again, when you most people just want love from their parents, right? Most people just want a mother to love them, to say good job, to rub their head, hold their hand. Yeah. I've never experienced that from my mother, even to this day as a grown woman. Yeah. Now, God has given me that in abundance, but I never received it from my biological mother. But the fact that she was sick, she was on drugs, she always chose that white stone over her children.
Yeah.
She's always done that.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where my resentment towards her, you know, it created the identity crisis that I had within my life where I didn't know who I was, but I was so afraid of becoming her. So all the success I built, Brandi, I built it with anger.
Yeah. Wow.
I built my success on anger. And it got to the point where I had nothing to be angry about. You know, my bank account is right. I worked so hard that, you know, I'm married and I'm an example now to people. And I worked so hard to stay in ministry and around God. And I worked so hard to be a mother, you know, to the point where I got to the point where I was still holding so much resentment that it was killing me.
Yeah.
Like killing me.
But you started on telling the story, and I think this is the story that, you know, it was so many moments I had to pause and walk away while I was doing the research for you, because while one of those times when you were left in the home for days, you and your siblings had no food, and you were in there with no power, and you said you ran out and grabbed 2 handfuls of grass,
Yes.
and took it back into the house so y'all would eat grass.
Yes.
I literally, Terrica said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like, and you said you had been in there for days, so there was no power.
The sun hurted my eyes opening. You got to imagine, I'm opening up a door. When you inside of a dark room for a while and you open up a door and light come in, you squinch. It's like you got to block the sunlight from your eyes because it got to adjust. So imagine your eyes having to adjust. You got to run outside and find something to eat as fast as you can because you can't risk the neighbors seeing you because they will tell her that the kids were outside.
Yeah.
Because that's how the old folks did back in the day. Everybody knew everybody's business, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody was the parent.
Yeah.
So I'm literally taking the biggest risk of my life at 5 years old. Imagine being 5 years old. I'm not even the oldest child, Brandi.
Oh, so I thought you were the oldest.
No, I'm the middle.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm the middle. So I have a baby sister, and then I have everybody else that's older than me. So imagine at 5 years old, you're like, yo, if I do not get us out of this house and get us something to eat, we're going to starve to death. At 5 years old, I became a protector.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I needed to protect my siblings. I needed to protect us. And so I remember going to the front door. It's completely dark in this house. And in the, you know, in the hood, right, they put foil on the windows. So you can't even see inside anyway, right?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they put foil on the windows.
I guess I had a different childhood.
So I remember opening up the front door and, you know, obviously the sun is very bright.
Yeah.
And it's hitting me, so I'm squinting, but my heart is beating uncontrollably out of my chest. Like, I have to run as fast as I can, and I have to make it back on the inside before anybody see me. Because what happens is, if the neighbor on the left and or on the right see me, they're gonna tell her that we left the house. So I grabbed the first thing I could think of, which was 2 hands full of grass, and I ran back inside. And I told my sisters, I said, we have to eat this tonight. And my baby sister said, I am not eating that. I said, if we do not eat this grass, we're going to starve to death. And in order for us to have something to drink, this is where it led up to, right? This half-empty can of beer was all they had in the house. There was no water.
Because there's no power. The water's off.
The water is off.
Yeah.
There's no food. There's nothing in the house.
Wow.
So we're literally sharing this can of beer that's half empty. Okay, that was on a nightstand. And when my mother returned, she realized that that can was completely empty. She didn't care that she left her kids in the house for days at a time. She didn't care that we was hungry and starving. She didn't care about any of that. The thing is, when your parents are on drugs, you don't know which parent you're going to get.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm not going to say most crackheads, but the crackheads I've seen, and I've grown up around a lot of them, they have this clean symptom where they have to constantly keep things clean. They're always cleaning 24/7, even though there's no dirt in the house. And or they're paranoid.
Yeah.
They're constantly thinking somebody is coming, somebody is after them. You know, they're fidgeting. And so if she came in fidgeting, her eyes are popped outside of her head. She's high, but she needs another high to keep her, to get her into the cleaning mode, to keep the cycle going with her. So we never knew which type of mother we was going to get walking through that door. But when she realized that that can was empty, and that was the only thing she paid attention to, she instantly got upset. And so she was coming after all of us. Now, I know my sisters couldn't handle the beatings that she gave. They just couldn't. And so I was always the one who would say, it was me.
Wow.
I did it. I would take the beatings because I knew my baby sister for sure couldn't take it. And my older sister at the time, who's now passed away, you know, she was so soft-hearted. She was so amazing, you know. And at the age of 5 years old, I knew I had to fight that battle for them. I had to take that.
I mean, at 5 years old, you say that your mother, in order to pay for a debt to her drug dealer, sold you to the drug dealer. And you were sexually assaulted for the first time at 5 years old.
I was raped.
Yeah.
Sexually assaulted, I just find it's a fancy word.
Yeah.
You know, people need to hear the word rape. I lost
Yeah.
my innocence
Yeah.
at 5 years old.
Yeah.
I never felt so much pain in my life
Yeah.
being destroyed like that.
Yeah. At 5 years old.
The part that was the worst was looking back while I'm being pulled by a drug dealer to go into a bathroom and seeing her high on the floor, eyes rolled in the back of her head. And she's satisfied.
Yeah.
And I'm begging, I'm crying and pleading for her. You know, the thing that I remember the most from this moment was I kept saying, I'm gonna be a good girl. I promise, I'm gonna be a good girl. If you just forgive me, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
You know, and I did that because I thought because I would always take the rap, or I would always be the one that's gonna go and survive and try to do something to help, that I was the one being punished for it. And so obviously I was raped. I ended up shortly after that in foster care. You know, I lived with my grandmother a short period of time. They came and got us out the house. They realized she was heavily on drugs and that she could not keep her children. And I ended up eventually in foster care, spending most of my life in foster care.
Yeah. But you said that was just as and equally as bad.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm now an advocate for foster care youth.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very important to me. Nobody knows what it feels like when your birthday come around and you don't have your parents. You know, some people have parents in their life and they're still absent.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody knows what it feels like on Christmas when you're getting all these gifts from all these different organizations. They done put your name on a star at somebody's church.
Yeah.
To get you gifts.
Yeah.
You're at somebody foundation event and everybody dressed up in tuxedos and black dresses. They're in a ball right now. And your name is on a star. And no matter how many gifts they get you, it compares to nothing for what you're longing for.
Yeah.
That's the love of your mother, the love of your father, the presence of them being there.
Yeah.
That would have been, to me, the best Christmas gift ever. I was always willing as a child to forgive. I was always willing as a child to forgive because that's that child syndrome where your parents hurt you and you just keep forgiving them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I find that when you go through that child syndrome and then you go into adult syndrome, it changes to rage. Like we can't be in the same room no more. This is why I had identity crisis, because when I was in foster care, I started using my body as a tool to get back at people, to escape from the world. Using my body was my drug. I never did crack, but I did things probably just as bad as crack.
Yeah.
You know, and so me, like, not caring and not having, if my innocence was taken at 5 years old, what does it matter
Yeah.
if I give it to anybody?
Yeah.
Who can tell me anything?
Yeah.
In foster care, they just thought I was a problem child. I had walls up. You know, they put me in the crazy house at a very
you were
early-
institutionalized.
They institutionalized me. They gave me Ritalin. They, you know, they did everything they could to try to break me, to make me think that I was crazy. Nobody wrapped their arms around me and said, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Until you found yourself homeless at 17 years old under a bridge, and you had the thoughts that this cannot be it.
This cannot be it. So by the time I was 16 years old, Brandi, I was legally emancipated from the state.
Yeah.
So that means that I'm an adult at
Full
16.
adult at 16.
At 16.
Yeah.
Because I stayed on runaway in the system. So what happened was I ended up traveling around the world selling magazines. Yes. I never knew what real estate was. Most people be like, how did you even think of real estate with your story? Because at 16 years old, I hopped on a Greyhound and I went around the world to 42 states selling magazines to people all around the world.
Wow.
With a magazine crew.
Wow.
Yes. And so I would always ask them, so what is it that you do for a living? And they would say real estate. I didn't know what real estate meant, even though they told me that.
So you get this idea that this is the path that I'm going to take.
Yes.
And how did this idea come to you? Because I got to believe that it had to have been some vision that came to you.
So after Hurricane Katrina, I was like, I never want to be poor again like this. I hate this feeling. I hated the fact that our legal officials didn't come in time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just said, after Hurricane Katrina, when I got relocated to another city, I said, okay, what is it that I can do? And I just remember hearing the word real estate from all those people that I met when I was selling magazines. And so I Googled real estate. They pulled up real estate school. So again, I didn't know what real estate was.
Now, how old are you at this point?
I'm probably 21, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably 21. And so I Googled real estate school. No, not real estate school. I Googled real estate. It pulls up real estate school. At this point, I'm like, I got to go to real estate school. So I sign up for a course. I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. I've never heard nobody mention a mortgage. You got to think about where I come from.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody talked about, oh, I got to pay a mortgage this month.
Yeah.
It was always, I need like $50 to pay my rent.
Wow.
So I just never knew the lingo.
Yeah.
So I'm the dumbest one in the class. I am the one slowing the class up. I'm sorry, what is an encumbrance? What is a lien? What is a mortgage? Like, I knew none of those simple terms. Things that are so simple to most, I knew none of it. You know, and so I was relentless because at this point in time, I literally have went through a storm that was sent to kill me.
Yeah. Oof.
It was sent to kill me.
Yeah.
Right? And because I'm here to fight another day, I'm about to fight.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to be able to stop me. My mother couldn't stop me. Homelessness couldn't stop me. Foster care couldn't stop me. Social workers couldn't stop me. I'd be doggone if I let a piece of paper stop me.
Jesus. Jesus.
I'm not going to let it.
Listen, I mean, for everybody who is listening, this is why this woman lives by nothing is impossible.
Yes.
Because you've been faced with what most people would deem impossible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is this, I never knew how strong I was. I didn't.
Even amidst all of this that was going on.
I had no clue. I just kept on fighting.
You are like a warrior, honey. You are Wakanda forever, girl. I just want to be, you know.
I am convinced you would have to kill me to take me out.
Yeah.
I am convinced of that. And it's not because I'm prideful. It's just because if I have both eyes open, I still got fight in me.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take me out by force.
Yeah.
You know, and every principality that has come towards me has failed.
Yeah.
This is the thing about an anointing. You may have an anointing on your life that you don't know about. And during the lost years of my life, and I call my teenager years my lost years because I can barely remember anything other than smashing people, right?
Wow.
Literally. During those times, right, I had an anointing on my life that other people seen on me, but never ever told me. But because they knew it, they were always intimidated by me. So they always would try to break me. They would always tell me the negative things about myself.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, if you keep going this route, you're going to be a crackhead just like your mom. You're going to be a high school dropout. Oh, my gosh, she got 2 kids by the age of 19 with, you know, with this bum baby daddy who don't take care of the kids. Like, all of this stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't you dare share your story with the world, Terrica. That is family business. Don't you dare talk about what happened with you. Like, all of these things. they tried to break me. They tried to destroy me.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that those that are anointed, God don't play behind them. And everybody who has been sent on an assignment to come kill, steal, and destroy, including the storm, Hurricane Katrina, has failed every single attempt. So if God loves me that much to keep me in this game, to continue fighting, how dare I be, selfish and not get back up and fight?
The tissue was for me today, Terrica. It was not for you. We normally put the tissue down next to your seat because they think you might cry.
I am gonna
But
cry.
baby, let me tell you, I need the tissue myself. I think we got one left. Who do we have?
We got one left. I don't have none.
We got one apiece.
Thank you.
It's on right behind us. OMG. I am just, you have given me, I am at a loss because we often hear all the people who say all the things that have come against us that we could fail. And you have shown and proven in every single way that you are absolutely unstoppable. I think this is why you are in the real estate field, because it's such a risk, right? And it can yield great reward, right? But you cannot be, as you call it, afraid to get a haircut.
That's right.
You talk about it, you said, oh, I'm not afraid to, you can't be afraid to get a haircut. Right. You mean some stuff coming off. Oh, well, we got it. You're not afraid because there is a fearlessness that you've had to really maintain in your life.
I know what the worst is.
Yeah.
I know what the worst is. The enemy downfall is that he showed me what the worst was.
Yeah.
That's his downfall.
Yeah.
So knowing what the worst is and being able to come from the worst to where I'm at today, there's nothing anyone can take from me. I just told my assistant today, if I lose it all today, I can get it back.
Yeah.
I am not afraid to lose it all today to get it back. And I find, my strength is not my own. My strength is not my own. I am deeply rooted in the Word of God.
Well, that is obvious.
Yeah.
That is obvious. That's all on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so deeply rooted in the Word of God. When was this, there had to have been some moment, you slayed a Goliath, you had a prodigal son, something, there was a moment that you had. What was it?
I find my story is a lot like David's.
Yeah.
Some know him as Shepherd Boy David.
Yeah.
Some know him as King David.
Yeah.
Right? David did not feel like he was qualified enough to be married to a king's daughter.
No.
But he already had the anointing on his life.
Yeah.
So in order to make himself feel like he was qualified enough, he went out and slayed 100 Philistines just to prove that he was qualified enough. And then he went on to marry the daughter of King Saul. What I found with myself is that I am a fighter. Right? And I always feel like I have a point to prove. But I have to remember that God has already anointed me before I even walked in any room that I go to.
Yeah.
And he's anointed you before you even walk in any room. It's a blessing and an honor to be in your presence. So, and that's how I carry myself, and I carry the people that are around me. It is a blessing and honor to be in the presence of my assistant. To have her to be able to help me and to serve me, that's a blessing. I honor those things, And so I find that my moment, I call it, the when I wrestle with God, right? My wrestling with God for my blessing was during the time when I wrote my book. And I wasn't wrestling for a financial blessing at this point because I was there. Wasn't wrestling for a husband because I had one. I wasn't wrestling for my children because I was there. I wasn't wrestling for my businesses or my companies or anything like that. I was wrestling for Terrica. God, I need you to show me who I am. Outside of all of these accolades that the world may see with me.
Yeah.
Can you give me a glimpse of how you see me?
Yeah.
Because I can't see myself.
Yeah.
No matter how many times somebody tell me the good and or the bad, I cannot see it.
Yeah.
I need to be able to see Terrica through your eyes. And when I prayed that prayer, I saw myself on the floor in a fetal position, being held by the Almighty, covered completely, protected, and waking up and rising like a lion. That's who God sees me as, his conqueror. You know, he sends me on assignments to take dominion by force. He believes in me. He calls me friend. And because I have a relationship with God, my foundation is built on solid ground. I cannot be shaken.
Come on.
It's a different kind of
Listen.
different kind of life having
Yeah.
having that in
Yeah.
the mix of everything.
Yeah.
I am truly blessed in all aspects of my life. I'm genuinely happy. I'm happy as a mother. I'm happy as a wife. I'm happy as a leader in my community. I'm happy as a leader in my church. I'm happy to be Terrica Lynn Smith.
Yeah.
That's what it took years for me to say I'm happy about.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be me. I have probably one of the worst hands dealt in life. But God gave me the winning hand.
I mean, most people would have folded. Most people would have turned it out, said, I can't do it.
I felt like many days I wanted to fold. And
Yeah.
that's for the people that's out there right now that's saying, God, I am tired. Why am I constantly burdened? You would not receive this burden if you were not qualified.
Yeah.
Every last one of us have a certain level of qualification that God sees within us to carry out a mission. It is selfish of us to quit on ourselves when God sees what we can do.
Yeah.
It's selfish.
It's selfish to quit.
It's selfish to quit.
It's selfish to quit. Oh boy. Terrica, I don't even know where to go. I have literally, you got me at a loss for words right now, because I think that when I listen to you, my cup runneth over. Like literally, I am bubbling up on the inside right now. I am trying to contain myself and have a level of professionalism, but I need the organ to play right now. I need the tambourine to go. I need to just take off right now, because I am so blessed by you right now.
Thank you.
I am so blessed. I knew it walking into this that you were going to do it, because I called you an overcomer in your intro. Mm-hmm. That's not something that you had in your bio.
No.
You didn't have that said that she go by this.
Yeah.
But when you listen to this story, when you are confronted with all of the things that have come to really break you, mm-hmm. and you sit here and as a successful woman, $21 million property in Louisiana, $60 million real estate portfolio, recognized by presidents. Come on now. You were homeless under a bridge. And I got to tell people who think that what's not possible, you can go from being homeless under a bridge to being recognized by presidents. God will put you in position.
Want to do it.
Yeah.
Names mentioned in rooms you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's like people just don't know how powerful they are.
Yeah.
If you can just tap into who you really are and just be yourself authentically, just be full transparency.
Yeah.
I'm me every day of the week. I don't come here pretending to be nobody else.
Yeah.
I'm just me. And I think that's really what has kept me in good grace with God, because a lot of the times, for instance, Saul, who I was just talking about, he was a nobody and was turned into a king.
Yeah.
Guess what? He started feeling himself. He started people pleasing.
Yeah.
He asked for God to forgive him. God said, nah, I'm done. You people pleasing. I called you to be a king. You was nothing. I placed you here before the people, and you choose to please them before me.
Yeah.
So for me, I am very careful of not people pleasing. I'm God pleasing. God, is this pleasing to you? Am I honoring you? Am I serving you with what I'm doing right now? Because if I'm not, remove me. I told you, I said, when I spoke at InvestFest, I said, God, silence me.
Yeah.
Silence me so your presence can be recognized here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So. It's the prayer I prayed before we even started. Mm-hmm. Remove me from this place. Mm-hmm. And I think that, so many people feel like business has to be a ruthless venture.
Yeah.
That business has to be something that's cutthroat and something that is arduous. But you are really telling people that really the foundation is faith. The foundation is God. You are really doing this to build the kingdom, and that you can have a Christ-centered business because that's what you have.
That's right.
Yeah.
My ministry is my business. My business is my ministry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah. So. Do you feel like you meet opposition along the way because you have that as your premise?
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I am reminded of why I do everything I do.
Yeah.
Everybody say, I do it for my kids. Yeah, I started off doing it for my son. I made a promise to him. In the end, my promise ended with God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I said,
Yeah.
God, if you take me from here, I'll never go back here.
Yeah.
That was the first promise.
Yeah.
And so I am constantly faced with backlash. I am faced with people plotting to try to take my kingdom.
Wow.
Being a pioneer doing things as
Yeah.
a Black woman in real estate, it's not many of us.
Yeah.
As a Black woman developer,
Yeah. Yeah.
go ahead and look for them.
Yeah.
They're out there, but they're not out there.
And you're the only one in the state of Louisiana?
No, I'm not the only one in the state
Okay.
of Louisiana. I'm sure there's a lot of amazing women developers who just not saying anything because they don't want the backlash. They don't want to get, beat down or, it's a man's world. You know what I'm saying? And in Louisiana, you dealing with more men that don't look nothing like you and or your lineage, you know? And so you got to have the tenacity to be able to stand up and look them in the face and say, I'll kick this door down with you in it. I don't care. I'll sit at your table whether you want me or not. Most people like, I'm not going to sit at a table I'm not wanted at. No, I sat at tables I was not wanted at, and I built my own table. I had to sit at a table I was unwanted at so I can know what I needed to bring to the table. I don't know what to bring to the table if I can't sit at a table that's already existing. So people be like, I am the table. That's cool for you. I had to go sit at one, and I was not welcome, so I kicked the door in. I didn't have a chair, so I built my chair. And when I came in there, guess what? They knew who Terrica Lynn Smith was. I may not knew all them by name, but they knew who the Black woman was that's coming in 5'2". And they knew that I wasn't going to play. The other thing is this. I played dumb for so many years in those rooms because when people think you're a dumb, they give you more information. So I sat in that room, and I absorbed everything that they was giving out. Every single thing. And then I went and built my own table.
Because you learned the foreign language. You said that real estate is a foreign language.
It's a foreign language.
And you had to learn the language.
I had to
And
learn
so
it.
many of us don't want to take the time to learn the language. And so we just do things willy-nilly. You told a story recently about a woman who got this money, invested in this property, but she didn't know how to ask the proper questions.
Correct.
And so she ends up finding out after she talks to you, she joins your mastermind, and she ends up talking to you, and you're like, well, did you ask how many, did you ask how many liens or how many things are on the property? And she goes to ask the question, and they said, well, you need to put a public records request in because that's how long all these permits, all these things that are against this property.
That's right.
And so you have learned in such a way that you know how to ask the right questions when you're in these rooms.
Yeah, and so what happens is sometimes we got to be quiet. I love hearing people talk.
Yeah.
I go to the airport and hear people talk. I be all in their business. Right? I learned so much. I enjoy learning so much that I learn on accident most of the times. But what I'm very conscious of is what I pay attention to is what I become. So that means that if I am intentional about learning more about development and growing in real estate, and if I hear somebody say real estate, my ears go ding, 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 I'm going to listen and be a part of that conversation. And so I am slow to speak. And quick to listen. So I had to learn that as a wife. I had to learn how to shut this mouth. I was a dripping faucet. Okay, my husband be like, my goodness, where she come from, right? But I wanted to be a better wife, so I had to learn how to control this. In order to be a better developer, I had to learn how to control this.
You might have to say that a little louder to the people in the cheap seats. Okay, you might have to say it a little louder, Terry, because it's some women here that they losing because they can't.
There's power in being quiet. There is power. Your husband don't know how to receive you when you quiet. Okay, he start checking himself. Like, what is it? Me? Is it her? Should I say something? Should I not? Now, you know what I'm saying? It's just I just learned the power of that very early on, and so I use it in business, and it works every single time.
Yeah, it works every single time.
Every single time.
What are you committed to in this season? All the things that you've experienced in your life, all the hardship, but those hardships really made way to some major triumphs in your life. What are you committed to in this season of your life?
I'm committed to furthering the kingdom of God through real estate investing. The cycle ends with me. I am believing that I am going to touch 1 billion people and teach them how to take dominion by force and be the firstborn cycle breaker in their family.
Wow.
We don't own enough real estate.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to stand up. It's time for us to rise. It's time for us to take dominion. You know, most people still wandering in the wilderness for 40 years.
Yeah.
Their legs are tired. Their
Yeah.
brains are tired.
Yeah.
Their health is giving out.
Yeah.
You know, and so we have to stop this cycle of generational poverty.
Yeah.
That's all that's being passed on right now. I speak from the pain points of where I come from, and so I'm committed to ending that cycle of poverty.
Yeah. What's one thing that people can do in shifting their mindset away from scarcity, away from poverty?
One thing that you can do to take your mindset away from scarcity and poverty is to read. Read as much as you possibly can. Self-help books. I'm not talking about romance novels. I'm talking about books that can really multiply your life and feed you, you know, give you, like, you know, obviously, right, my favorite book to read is the Bible. Everybody joke with me with that. I'm not a pastor. I'm not, I'm none of that. I just enjoyed the book because it's so good.
Yeah.
And so I find a lot of revelations through reading. I also read an article years ago that said most people that makes $100,000 a year know only 1,000 words or less.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness.
So your vocabulary is important. You constantly learning is important. That's what that taught me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so another book I read, Rich Dad Poor Dad, obviously everybody in the world read it, but you know, he have a children book for children, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in there he said, you know, readers are earners. So the more you read, the more you earn.
Yeah.
You know, if you just read, it can take you, it can shift your mind just
Absolutely.
one simple thought,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that, you know, that helps you get rid of that scarcity and that poverty mindset.
Yeah.
You know, I think the other thing is this. Most people need to stop being selfish. Black people want to hold all the things to themselves and afraid somebody else is going to get more light than them. And I don't think I think that's how this is, edit it out if you need to, right? But this is how Willie Lynch designed the program to be.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
And we have to break that poverty spirit off of us. I want to see other women be built up. I have a friend that's very successful, and he's getting into what I'm doing, and he has a ton more buying power than me. Guess what? I'm the elevator to his success.
Yeah.
I'm the elevator. I want to be the elevator. Why? Because of the simple fact, I know what it's like to be a crab in a barrel. I used to be one.
Yeah.
That's a poverty mindset. It's a scarcity.
Yeah.
It's not enough to share, so I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not going to
Yeah.
pass this to you.
Yeah.
You know, you get a deal. You don't put somebody on. David put my name in this room, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
That's the kind of friends I have.
Yeah.
He like, see, you so dope. I need you to be in this room. I'm gonna hit up my friend Brandi, and I'm gonna see if she can, if she want to do it. That's the kind of people I hang around.
Yeah.
Where we're not afraid to elevate each other. We each other's elevator to success.
Yeah.
That's what you do to get rid of that.
Yeah. Elevator to success. Readers are earners. What book are you reading right now outside of the Bible?
Because I was about to say I just finished the Bible. I don't know. I'm reading 10X Rule.
Oh, I finished it. That was my first book at the top of the year. 10X is easier than 2X.
Yes.
That one? Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I just started it.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually found out about it through Michael with EYL.
Okay.
He said he was reading it, so I went and downloaded it, and I just started. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's talking about, right now I'm at the part where he's talking about Michael D'Angelo and the art, and, you know, just kind of like, you know, him doing it bigger than what he could possibly do at the time. And it, you know, it placed him in rooms and in places that, you know, obviously I don't think he fully expected. And so, you know, I think it's opening my mind to seeing that I can do what I'm doing now and scale it to that level.
Yeah. My one of my good friends, Patrice Washington, she has a platform called Redefining Wealth. She is the one who put me onto that book.
Really?
She 10X'd her business, and she was doing so much more.
Wow.
And she started doing so much less and started earning more money.
So
she said that was the book that shifted her mind, because she had all these different programs, all these different things that she was running, and she just did away with them in the last year and started honing in on one or two specific things and exponential growth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it because everybody that's talking about it saying
It's
how
a really
it
good
is.
book.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's more about the quality of your life. That we really have the power to create a better quality of life.
Yes.
We think that we have to stay busy all the time and do, go. And I got a million things that I'm doing right now and checking off the list. But imagine what happens when you start to hone in. But that also plays into that purpose of why our purpose and that gifting is so important. I don't even know where else to go with you today because when I tell you, you have blessed me in such a way, absolutely, 1000%. I knew that you would be, I told you captured my heart before you even got here. So what's that one thing that you would leave our audience with, whether they're building, whether they're trying to break a poverty, scarcity mindset, or whether they want to be the first in their family to do something? What piece of advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid to be the comeback queen or the comeback king. Like, it's okay to come back for your inheritance. It was stolen from you. It's okay to come back and claim these blessings that are yours. It's okay to come back and claim your dominion. It's okay to come back and claim your life, your marriage, your relationship with your children. Like, I am so okay with coming back. Most people be like, I'm not repeating that. Nah. If I feel like it's something I need to come back to restore, I'm going to come back to it. So coming back to Terrica Lynn Smith restored me. Don't be afraid of a comeback. This your comeback year.
This is your comeback year. Some of y'all, you may be down, but you are not out.
That's right.
You got to come back in your spirit.
Look, that comeback. You just needed to hear it today.
Listen, you had to be reminded,
Yep.
and you had to see what a miracle looks like.
Yes.
I want y'all to know, you're looking at, this is what a miracle looks like. We think that it got to look like turning water into wine. It looks like taking you from under a bridge into sitting you in the White House. I mean, look at God, what he can do.
Shout out to Scott Turner, who led the Opportunities on Initiative for our state as well, too. He really organized that up under Donald Trump administration.
I mean, amazing. Terrica Lynn Smith, you are a blessing. Continue to build the kingdom.
Thank you.
You are, by force. Yes. I'm so excited for what you're about to do. Yes. Vaught Empowers Talks, this was another good one. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Y'all, this was the first tears of the season. Listen, I'm so blessed to do this work. Until next time, you guys, please be sure to subscribe and share this with somebody else who you know it will bless immensely. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. Until next time, eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.